You're tuning into Black and White Sports on YouTube. The no-holds-barred truth on sports. The main event starts now.
I'm back. Rodriguez for Black and White Sports 2. We're going to talk about Matthew Stafford and, to a lesser extent, his wife, Kelly Stafford, because she's made some comments. Matthew Stafford is out in the concussion protocol, and he got done with the game a couple of weeks ago, and in the press conference, Sean McVay said Matthew Stafford's in the concussion protocol. And of course, that raised a lot of questions from a lot of people, and Matthew Stafford's wife was very upset about that. She's been very vocal about concussions and worrying about Matthew, and we will get to what Matthew Stafford's going through right now because he's in the concussion protocol again. He's not going to play, and he left last week's game. So, 2 weeks in a row. And so we're going to get to this because there's the comments I want to give you from a couple of weeks ago that I made a video on, and then we'll get to some more comments that she made after we find out what's going on with Matthew Stafford, and it sounds bad. Matthew's 34, 50,000 yards, has a Super Bowl ring. I mean, look, right, wrong, or indifferent, whether people think he should or not, he will eventually get into the Hall of Fame with those numbers. It's just the way it is. It's just, I don't know that he necessarily should be in the Hall of Fame. I don't believe he'll be first ballot. But with 50,000 yards, over 300 touchdowns, and a ring, he's going to get in. Okay, that's just the way it is. Quote, if you follow the NFL, you just heard Matthew got put into the concussion protocol. This was over 2 weeks ago. If you would listen to my podcast at all, you know how big a deal this is to me. The head is not something to be messed with, and I hope as this sport develops, so does the concern for head health and research around it. And no, I'm not okay. I have every emotion running through me. Concerned, angry, sad, tired, all of them. Now, she did go on to talk at length about how upset she was when she saw the Tua situation, which is something we covered on this channel a lot. Now, let's get to Stafford because it sounds really damn bad right now. It does. And she also made some comments just yesterday that she knows her husband is not ready to retire. This sounds very, very troubling. It does. Star NFL quarterback could be shut down for the year after feeling numbness in his legs on Sunday. Okay, and this just came out yesterday. The Rams have been hit hard by injuries over the last few weeks. In Week 9, Matthew Stafford suffered a concussion that kept him out for Week 10. In Week 10, Cooper Kupp suffered a high ankle sprain that will cost him at least 6 weeks, potentially the rest of the season. Stafford returned from his concussion for the Rams in Week 11 against the Saints. But he is now, once again, finds himself in the concussion protocol. He's already been ruled out for Week 12 against the Chiefs, but it turns out that the concussion might not be the reason why. Wow. Or has it got something to do with the concussion? Today, Sean McVay revealed Stafford felt numbness in his legs after taking a hit during a loss to the Saints. He is currently dealing with a neck injury. Well, a neck injury can be concussion-related too. This was yesterday. Matthew Stafford won't participate in practice today. Talks about numbness in the legs. He had further testing Monday. He is in concussion protocol. McVay can't say he has a concussion, calling it a neck issue as the team evaluates. I got to be real. It kind of sounds like he's trying to cover his butt a little bit. McVay said, as of now, Stafford is not feeling that numbness. The Rams will, quote, take a week at a time. McVay does not rule out shutting down Stafford for the rest of the season. Wow. Unbelievable. So this has brought up some retirement talk now. And this was his wife. And this was from the 19th. Quote, I think it's really hard to admit to yourself when you have this beautiful mind that is witty, and my favorite thing about him, that something is going on and it's not just a bad day. Kelly continued, I give him a lot of credit. He came to me, immediately spilled what he was feeling. I know he's not ready to give it up, she added. He is to be the one to make that decision, and I know he's not ready. I know there will be a time when he is. Matthew is not going to be the Tom Brady of the world. But I know right now is not the end, and that's a hard thing to wrap my head around. Okay, so we got to remember something. That's kind of the thing that we started hearing publicly out of Giselle about 10 years ago. She was talking about Tom Brady being worried about head injuries. She was wanting him to retire then. She just said, Kelly did, this is a hard thing for me to wrap my head around. All right? So he's got numbness. She obviously knows it. It sounds to me like she wants him to retire, but she knows he's not ready to retire. And it is surprising. I mean, I thought he's 34. You would think, reasonably speaking, Stafford would play next year and probably the year after. Although I think we've had some stay around a year too long, Roethlisberger. And some people could add Matt Ryan maybe a year too long right now. Although Matt Ryan has flashed a couple of times this year, but you get the point. Now, the advantage for somebody like Stafford is he's got a cannon, okay? And as long as you got a cannon, that helps. But a lot of that cannon, that arm, that gun, and he's got one of the best guns in the league, comes from the legs. Well, that's never a good sign when you got numbness in the legs. Okay, and when you start hearing things like that, you start thinking, concussions ended a lot of careers. Okay, most notably, especially from my time coming up, it ended Troy Aikman and it ended Steve Young, my all-time favorite player. Both of them, concussions, and too many of them put them out of the game when a lot of people felt like, including those two, that they really could still play. I mean, Troy Aikman was getting contract offers like 3 years after he retired, when he was like already starting to get involved, wanting to do TV and all that. Kurt Warner, retired, concussion. Hell, they were offering him contracts 2 or 3 years after the fact. So you get the point. You can tell Kelly Stafford is very worried about Matthew. And evidently he's been vocal about not wanting to retire. But think about this. Retirement is now publicly part of the conversation. And numbness in his legs. That's not good. It's not. Keep in mind, the Rams basically have no draft collateral. F them picks has been their philosophy. And I think we're seeing there's a chance that may bite. I understand they got a Super Bowl, but there's a chance that might ultimately bite them in the ass over the next 2 or 3 years. I don't know. Tell me what you think, Black and White Sports 2 fans. It's not sounding good for Matthew Stafford. It really isn't. I hope he comes back and plays. Peace. I'm out. Till next time. Black and White Network supporters, make sure you go over and check out the Black and White Network merchandise store. 25% off USA First. 25% off USA First. Go now.
Thanks for watching the show. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Be sure to tune in next time on Black and White Sports.